friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn something very important from the exam point of view, and that is photosynthesis. I will be telling you in each step what are the possible questions. So be listening till the end, make notes, mark in your textbook like how I have marked here. First and foremost, what is photosynthesis? You should know that, and that is making of glucose by plants using carbon dioxide and water. You should be very clear with this equation because they ask you to write this equation as such. You should know how many carbon dioxide, how many water, how many molecules of glucose are formed and everything. This equation should be written as such from the textbook. Another thing, where is this happening? It is happening in the structure called as chloroplast. Right? Where is chloroplast found? Is it found everywhere in the plant? No. In the leaf of plants, there are certain cells called as mesophyll cells, and these mesophyll cells have certain plastids called as chloroplast. You should be very clear with the structure of chloroplast. They ask this for 3-mark question. Next, photosynthesis can be divided into 2 phases, light dependent and light independent. See the explanation. Light dependent means that phase requires light, and the second phase does not require light, so we call that as light independent. First phase exclusively happens or is initiated by light, so we call the first phase or the light dependent phase also as photochemical phase. 1-mark question. Why is it called photochemical phase? Next is, where is it happening? It happens in thylakoid. I'll explain what that is. Second one, light independent phase is also called as biosynthetic phase. Why? It's because it is in this phase that glucose is synthesized. Where is it happening? Another question is that, and that answer is it happens in the stroma. So before understanding all this, probably it is all sounding too much to you. So let's see what exactly is the process and where is it happening. Like I told you, in the mesophyll cell there are chloroplast, and inside the chloroplast is this process called as photosynthesis happening. Alright. Now, where exactly is light reaction happening, dark reaction happening, all that I told you. Well, let's see how is all this forming in a sequence. Alright. Okay. So, this is a structure of chloroplast. When you are drawing, please make sure that you draw the structure with 2 membranes, outer and inner membrane. Inside that, a fluid-like substance is there. This part, ground fluid is marked. Can you see? This one, this everywhere that the green parts are not there. You can say it like that. Okay, the ground fluid is called as stroma, and it is in the stroma that dark reaction happens, or light independent phase, otherwise called as biosynthetic phase. That phase is happening. Second phase. Alright, coming to the first phase, you can see certain like this structures. Many are arranged one over the other. Each of this is called thylakoid, and if it is a pile of thylakoid, we call the pile to be granum. Pile of coins you have seen. I give you 10 coins, you can pile it up, one over the other you can keep. Same way, pile of coins. Same way, pile of thylakoids, okay, is called as granum. So if the option given is light reaction happens in dash and they have not given thylakoid, instead they have given granum, you will pick granum, right? So these are very important questions because it has been repeating many times. That's why I'm emphasizing on it. Okay. Now comes the actual photosynthesis. Like I told you, it's divided into 2 phases. Phase 1, certain things are formed. Using that, phase 2 happens. Okay, so phase 1. Where is it happening again? Thylakoid. I have taken one thylakoid out and I have placed here for you to see what that means. Right, like this. On the membrane of this, okay, on the membrane of this thylakoid, each of them, right, there are certain pigments called as chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. Alright. Many types of chlorophyll are there, but the most significant ones are chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. So another question that comes here is differentiate between chloroplast and chlorophyll. What's the difference? One is a plastid, another is a pigment. Chloroplast helps in photosynthesis, both phases. Chlorophyll helps in harvesting light. 2 points of difference you are supposed to write. Coming back to the photosynthesis light reaction, on the thylakoid membrane, this chlorophyll is present, the pigment. What does it do? It absorbs units of light. Units of light are called as photons. Okay, so it absorbs photons. Now let's go to the text here. So the chlorophyll absorbs light in the form of photons. The moment it absorbs light, it starts losing some electrons from the outermost shell of its atoms. You know, chlorophyll is a pigment. Any chemical we are talking about, it's made up of atoms, right? In the atom, the outermost shell has some electrons, which the moment it receives some energy, what energy? Light energy, it starts jumping out of it. And that process is called as activation of chlorophyll. Okay, so activation of chlorophyll means absorbing light by chlorophyll pigment and losing of some electrons from it, right? Now these electrons, as it is lost, it moves through something called as electron transport chain, which is not there in our syllabus, so we will omit it for now. But electrons that are lost needs to be replenished, correct? So to replenish that, or to get back the electron inside the thylakoid lumen, lumen means this part, look at this part, okay, inside of it, yeah, let's say here, this part. This part is called as the lumen, and inside the lumen what happens is splitting of water happens. For what purpose it is happening? To replenish the electrons that are lost. Alright. Now when this splitting of water happens, what energy is providing this splitting? What energy is used for this splitting? Light energy is used. So lysis means splitting and photo means light. Okay. So splitting of water is also called as photolysis. Using light, we are breaking something. What are we breaking? Water. Water breaks into hydrogen ions, not hydrogen, hydrogen ions. What is an ion? Charged particle, right? And molecular oxygen. So when they ask you water splits into, you should write, please don't write hydrogen and oxygen like how it's given here. Strike that out and write hydrogen ion and oxygen. That is what is fetching you marks. Alright. Now you got hydrogen ion, you got some electrons, you got some molecular oxygen. What will oxygen do? It will be released as a byproduct from photosynthesis. Okay. And we all live because of that. Right. Now the definition of photolysis, please mark. 1 or 2 mark question it can be. Alright. Like the end products of photolysis is what all? Hydrogen ion, electron and water. Oxygen. Oxygen I told you is released. What happens to this hydrogen ion and electrons? They are used in certain processes. Okay, we'll go to that process which is shown here. One is hydrogen ion. What does it do? They are picked up by NADP. Expansion of it is asked in examination. It's a energy currency molecule. It's a high energy molecule to which hydrogen is added. It gets reduced to form NADPH. This is the energy currency. Meaning, using this, we are going to do some processes in the dark reaction. The plant. Okay, so that's one energy currency formed. Another is electron. What happens to the electron? Electrons are used in converting ADP, another molecule, into ATP, expansion of it, which you should know. And this process requires what? The electrons that are released from photolysis, which is breaking of water. And this process is also very important because this process definition is asked. What is meant by photophosphorylation? Phosphorylation is nothing but adding of inorganic phosphate to ADP, forming ATP. But in this case, since light is the energy that is used here, we call that type of phosphorylation to be photophosphorylation. Okay, so we understood till now, I hope. Activation, what are the steps in light reaction? Where is it happening? In thylakoid membrane it is happening. It requires light. 2 steps are there. First is activation of chlorophyll. Second is splitting of water. You get all these things. They are all used here for production of NADPH as well as ATP. Expand ATP, expand NADPH. You can expect those 2 questions. According to the new pattern, there is an expand question, as you already know from the previous videos that I have made. If you haven't watched that pattern of the question paper, please do. That's going to help you to score full marks. Okay. Now you got 2 energy currency molecules. Using this, what happens is the second phase is happening. What is second phase? Light independent phase, also called as dark phase, also called as biosynthetic phase. In this phase, carbon dioxide combines with water, forming glucose. Alright? And for that, energy is provided by who all? This NADPH as well as ATP. Alright, let me ask you board questions now. What are the products of light reaction? Answer is ATP, NADPH as well as oxygen. Alright, what are the end products of dark reaction? For this you should say glucose, isn't it? Synthesis of glucose happens. But in plants, glucose can't be stored as such. So it needs to be converted into starch. What is starch? Starch is nothing but a long chain made by glucose units. Imagine many glucose units joined together to form a long, we call that as polymer. Okay, and that process is called as polymerization. And what is formed out of this long chain of glucose is called as starch. I hope all the concepts are clear to you. I gave you all the questions out also which have come or which are possible to come. Please revise it further. Learn this diagram as well. If you find my content useful, please subscribe. Please share with your friends. Learn with me. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.